In August 2018, Jake moved to the big city to pursue his career. He quickly found a job with a monthly salary of 6,132 yuans. Lisa, a senior employee, took good care of Jake, and the two soon became close. They became good friends. One day in November, Lisa suddenly asked Jake for a loan, saying that her son was sick and hospitalized, and she urgently needed money. She promised to repay him within a month. Jake, understanding the hardships of a single mother, immediately transferred 16,000 yuans to help her out. But a month later, Lisa showed no intention of repaying the loan. Every time Jake asked for the money back, she would come up with different excuses. When Jake confronted Lisa again about the loan, she outright said, "I don't have the money to pay you back. How about this? I'll be your rental girlfriend to work off the debt. How about that?" Jake realized Lisa wasn't joking, and feeling lonely as he worked far from home, he had a moment of weakness and agreed to the outrageous proposal. That night, he and Lisa became involved. Afterward, their interactions grew bolder, and they continued an inappropriate relationship. Jake seemed to forget he had a wife and child back home. In January 2019, Lisa claimed she was pregnant and asked Jake for money for a procedure. This made Jake suddenly realize the immorality of their relationship. He didn't want to ruin his marriage. To resolve things peacefully, he transferred 30,000 yuans to Lisa and ended the relationship. Lisa left the company and moved to work elsewhere. Jake thought this affair was over. But 2 months later, Lisa called again, claiming she still felt unwell after the procedure, and asked Jake for more money. Jake didn't want to be taken advantage of, and ignored her. Just as he returned home for the Lunar New Year, Lisa sent him a message saying, "I have uterine cancer." She claimed it was caused by the previous procedure, and she had no money for treatment. She told him he was responsible. Jake was taken aback, but he doubted her story. He didn't want to get involved. Then, Lisa texted him again saying, "If you don't take responsibility, I'll go to your hometown and ask your wife for the money." She added, "You leave me no choice." Jake was instantly terrified. He loved his wife deeply. If this got out, his family would be ruined. He quickly transferred another 30,000 yuans to Lisa. From then on, under various excuses like hush money, Lisa began demanding money from him relentlessly. Whenever Jake refused to pay, she threatened to involve her family, and if she didn't get her money, they would come after him. Even if it meant mutual destruction, Jake was terrified. He scraped together funds and transferred a total of 800,000 yuans to Lisa. All of this money was borrowed through credit cards and online loan platforms. Lisa's constant pressure became too much for Jake to handle. He finally chose to confess everything to his wife. His wife couldn't accept the truth. She divorced him immediately and returned to her family with their son. Overnight, Jake lost everything. He decided to demand his money back from Lisa. But when he reached Lisa's hometown, he discovered that everything was a web of lies. Her family knew nothing about any of this. Lisa had gambled away all the money she had scammed from him. In anger, Jake immediately called the police. Lisa was quickly apprehended. After an investigation, the police confirmed that her claims of procedures and medical treatments were all lies. They determined that Lisa was guilty of fraud. Lisa had defrauded him of more than 500,000 yuans, which qualifies as a particularly large amount under Article 266 of the criminal law. As a result, she faced a prison sentence of more than 10 years, along with a fine. Remember, you can never fully know someone's heart. Never trust in fleeting pleasures, lest they ruin you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Molly was deeply troubled. She and her husband Andy had been married for years, but they were still unable to have a daughter. They went to the hospital for a checkup, and it turned out the issue was with her husband. Her husband had always treated her well, so Molly felt awkward asking for a divorce. But her desire for a child grew stronger. Every time she saw other people's children, Molly couldn't help but take a few extra glances. Molly worked as a saleswoman in a store, and she had a close relationship with a colleague, Will. Molly often shared her family troubles with Will. Will listened attentively and comforted her with kindness. Over time, they developed feelings for each other. Eventually, they became romantically involved. They even shared a deeper bond several times. After having multiple inappropriate encounters with Will, Molly became pregnant. This was something she had desperately wanted, even though she knew it wasn't her husband's child, and it might cause many problems in the future. It didn't stop her longing to be a mother. When Andy found out his wife had cheated, he tried to understand, but deep down, he was heartbroken. He couldn't get past it. He felt betrayed by his wife and could not forgive her. Afterward, Andy chose to separate from Molly. A year later, Molly successfully gave birth to a daughter. She and her husband, Andy, went to the court to finalize their divorce. Will, due to his work and family commitments, cut off contact with Molly. After the divorce, to support her child, Molly did everything she could to earn money, but she lacked special skills, and her ability was limited. She managed to raise her daughter until she was 7. When it was time for her daughter to start school, Molly was financially strapped. She could barely afford their living expenses. With no other choice, she contacted her former lover, Will, hoping he could take responsibility for the child's expenses. However, Will brushed her off, refusing to acknowledge the matter. He had his own wife and children and didn't want any additional complications. The two of them argued endlessly and eventually went to a DNA testing center for a paternity test. The results left Molly shocked. After all these years, she had thought the child was Will's. It turned out that Will had no relation to her daughter at all. Only then did Molly remember that years ago, she had chatted passionately with an online friend named Rain. The two had gone on a date once. Molly recalled that during their meeting, she and Rain rented a room and ended up spending the night together. When they were intimate, they didn't use any protection. Thinking back on it now, Molly realized her daughter was likely Rain's child. Unfortunately, they only met that one time, and after that, they parted ways quickly. They had no further contact and lost touch completely. She hadn't been able to find him. Molly tried every method she could think of to locate him, but she got no information about Rain. Feeling helpless, she came up with an idea. She went to the police station and reported that a few years ago, her online friend Rain had assaulted her, resulting in her daughter's birth. Once the police got involved, they quickly tracked down Rain. Molly believed she couldn't raise her daughter alone. She requested a paternity test between Rain and her daughter, and asked that Rain take on responsibility for supporting the child. However, Rain argued that he and Molly had only been together once, and it was highly unlikely she got pregnant from that. Rain refused to do a paternity test with the daughter. He didn't want to bring unnecessary trouble upon himself, and certainly didn't intend to take on responsibility for a child. With no other option, Molly took Rain to court. Molly presented her chat history with Rain on social media to prove that they had indeed had a relationship back then. She demanded a paternity test between Rain and her daughter. Under these circumstances, Rain still refused to take a paternity test. Rain argued that Molly hadn't divorced her husband at the time of conception. She also had another lover. Moreover, he couldn't be certain whether she'd been with anyone else. Adding to the oddity, Molly never informed Rain about her pregnancy or the child's birth at the time. Such behavior was unusual. After all, she and Rain had only met once, and hadn't shared a life together. The messages Molly provided on social media couldn't directly confirm that Rain was the father of her daughter, but they were enough to raise reasonable suspicion. In other words, the evidence was sufficient to show that Molly and Rain had a relationship. Based on the timing, Rain and the daughter might have a parent-child relationship. Given these facts, Rain still refused to undergo a paternity test. Therefore, the judge concluded if a parent or adult child files a lawsuit requesting confirmation of a parent-child relationship and provides necessary evidence without any contrary evidence from the other party, and the other party refuses a paternity test, the court may determine that the request to confirm the parent-child relationship is valid. In its final ruling, the court confirmed that Rain is the father of the daughter. Maintain moral boundaries to avoid tragic outcomes. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, and share.